Today, I want to talk about diagnosing events and automation in Salesforce. There may be times where you have concurrent pieces of automation that start to do the same things or create redundancies in your organization. We have workflow rules, process builders, and flow. I know Salesforce is deprecating workflow rules and process builders, but it may take some time for your teams to be able to migrate those over all to flow. And in the interim, you may run across duplicate pieces of automation that are causing redundancies, errors, or overwriting existing pieces of automation. Today, I want to show you how to listen for events and pieces of automation on record pages. As a very, very simple example, I have Mr. Andy Young here up in a dev sandbox org. I have a checkbox on his detail page that says super important. If Andy Young's marked as a super important contact, I want this contact owner to be Joe Schmo, the CEO. I have a process builder built and activated that checks to see if this contact is a super important one, and if so, we're going to go ahead and update the owner to make it Joe Schmo. Let's see what happens. All right. Scrolling down, it looks like the contact owner is still me. So what's going on here? If I take a look at the contact history, it looks like a piece of process automation did execute. The new value is Joe Schmo, but that individual came back to being me. What's going on here? There's process builders, workflows, flows set up in this org that may be overwriting these changes. So let's see if we can diagnose what the issue is. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck this checkbox, and the first thing that you're going to want to do is open up your developer console. I'm going to head back to the record page, and I'm going to click the same checkbox to hopefully trigger the same pieces of automation. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. I'll pull up the contact history as well, and you're going to see there's now 4 instances of the owner changing. If I head into the developer console, immediately you're going to be able to see some logs that have been generated as a result of this event. I'm going to immediately download the first log that pops up in my dev console, and I'm going to open it. Here I have a much more detailed output of exactly what went down on the page when I click that checkbox. I'm hitting Command F here to search for Joe Schmo. And here is a reference to that individual. And it looks like there was a workflow field update that caused this owner to be changed. Okay, so it looks like the first thing that may have been triggered is a workflow field update. And that criteria was met and was triggered. So what's going on here? Sometime between this instance and the end of the pieces of automation, that owner was somehow changed back. Let's see if there are any flows that may have been triggered. At least from these logs, I can tell that the correct workflow field update was triggered and that owner was indeed changed, of course, showing on the contact history that the owner was changed as well. So that accounts for one piece of the contact history record. Let's try to see if we can find the other one as well. I'm going to search for flow start interview end. And the reason being, you can search for beginning as well, begin. It looks like we're able to see the exact name of any flows that may have been triggered. And I see, it looks like one has been triggered here, update contact owner process builder. Let's see if there's any others. And it looks like another one was triggered, update contact owner flow. So it looks like we not only have a workflow rule, we also have a process builder, and we have a flow that was updating the contact owner. Taking a look at my process builders, I know that my process builder updates the owner to Joe Schmo, and I found it using the name that was displayed here in the logs, which means the culprit must be this update contact owner flow. If it's not the workflow rule, because the workflow rule fired first, just looking at the order of operations based on the position of these logs in the script here that I downloaded, tells me that update contact owner flow is the culprit. Let's go ahead and take a look at our flows and see if there's one called update contact owner flow. And there it is. What's going on here? Oh, it looks like the owner is set in this flow, and it's set to the user who's running the flow, which is me. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and deactivate this. And let's try this one more time and see if it fixes. I'll go ahead and uncheck this box. And I'll check it again, and hopefully the owner will update to be Joe Schmo, the CEO, because this is a super important contact. Another thing you're going to notice is, look, there's some redundancies here. A workflow rule is firing, changing the owner to Joe Schmo, and so is a process builder. We may want to consolidate some of these into one flow and remove the workflow rule and process builder. But I hope that helps you listen for particular pieces of automation on Salesforce record pages. You can, of course, trigger them, open up the developer console, download your logs, and have a much more detailed view of the order of operations when it comes to pieces of automation. Hope that helps.